Coming up on iOS today, Rosemary Orchard and I cover apps and products for doing good. Stay tuned.
This show is brought to you by Cisco Meraki. Without a cloud-managed network, businesses inevitably fall behind. Experience the ease and efficiency of Meraki's single platform to elevate the place where your employees and customers come together. Cisco Meraki maximizes uptime and minimizes loss to digitally transform your organization. Meraki's intuitive interface, increased connectivity, and multi-site management keep your organization operating seamlessly and securely wherever your team is. Let Cisco Meraki's 24/7 available support help your organization's remote, on-site, and hybrid teams always do their best work. Visit meraki.cisco.com/twit.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is iOS Today with Rosemary Orchard and Mikah Sargent, episode 662, recorded Monday, July 10th, 2023, for Tuesday, July 18th, 2023. Apps and gadgets for doing good. This episode of iOS Today is brought to you by NetSuite. If you've been sizing NetSuite up to make the switch, then you know this deal is unprecedented with no interest and no payments. Take advantage of this special financing offer and get the visibility and control you need to weather any storm by visiting netsuite.com/twit. And by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. Go to hellofresh.com/iOS50 and use code iOS50 for 50% off plus free shipping. And by ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, you're currently dealing with a slowing economy, which adds to your challenges. Thankfully, there's a hiring partner who is focused on you and your needs. It's ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/iOS. Welcome back to iOS Today, the show where we talk all things iOS and tvOS and HomePod OS and watchOS and all of the OSs that Apple has on offer. I am currently somewhere else in the United States. And so because of that, we are recording this episode early so that it can publish on the day when I'm gone. It's all very confusing, but through the magic of movie magic, we are making this happen. I am one of your hosts, Mikah Sargent.
And I am Rosemary Orchard. I'm very happy to be here, even though Mikah is simultaneously there and not there. What's happening? Am I talking to a real Mikah? Is this AI Mikah? What's going on?
Schrodinger's Mikah. I'm actually super excited about this episode today. So I just the other day was trying out a new app called Imprint. And in the app, basically what they've done is they have a team who reads different books, typically like self-help books or books about different forms of knowledge, and then takes those books and synthesizes them down into specific ideas. They'll then have a team of illustrators who will add the concepts visually to go along with it. It's a really cool app, and it's one that I might recommend in the future. It's just, I think, a little bit price prohibitive for a lot of folks. So that's why I am not currently recommending it. But in that app, there was this great series from a sort of professor, not sort of professor, but a professor of psychology talking about the science of happiness. And one of the things that they talk about in the science of happiness that you can do to make yourself feel good and to sort of spread happiness, and by spreading happiness, recoup a little bit of that, is through the use of some form of doing good. And they linked to several different options. And one of those options was the first app we're going to be talking about today. And I've talked about this app in the past. And so that's why I'm really I was inspired to then do this episode on just doing good. There are ways that you can either donate directly, donate indirectly, help out learn about ways to help out. And so that is what we're talking about today. The first app that we're going to be talking about is an app that's available on iOS and iPadOS called Be My Eyes. And Be My Eyes is a pretty simple app in terms of its sort of goal. With Be My Eyes, you can volunteer to be the eyes for a person with low or no vision. So what happens is a blind or low vision individual will join this app, and they can at any time call, and one of the volunteers, or actually they'll send out a notification to multiple volunteers through the app. Somebody picks up and then helps that person with low or no vision. So an example, I've had two Be My Eyes calls. In one call, and it's a video and audio call, the person was asking for help trying to determine what color the shirt they had was, and if it went with the pants that they were planning on wearing. So the person had just held out, and was laying on the bed was a pair of pants, and then above it was a few shirts, and they were kind of pointing at the shirts and asking me what were the colors of the shirts. And then another time, a person was asking for help reading a label that they had in front of them. So I was able to read the text of the label for them to help them figure out what it was. Now, what I think is so cool about Be My Eyes is that there are currently 6.7 million volunteers on the app. And there are a little bit over 511,000 blind or low vision folks who are on the app. So there are quite a number of volunteers who have signed up to be someone's eyes if they need it. Now, in the app, there's not a whole lot that you do as a volunteer. You simply wait to get a notification saying, hey, I need assistance. And then you can answer the call. If you don't answer the call, then it will go on to buzz other people until someone does answer the call. It's not as if the person has to type in information ahead of time or anything like that. So all you do is you get a notification that says, hey, someone's looking for assistance. They have added more to the app over time, though. So down here, you've got the main page. This is the home page, but there's also the community tab, which has stories from different folks who've had help through the service, a blog post that kind of talks about what's going on with Be My Eyes, and then also podcasts. So you can learn more information there. And then there's the Learn tab. And this is for Be My Eyes. So you can learn how to use it, both as a volunteer or as a person with low or no vision, and kind of keep up to date with what's new. Outside of that, it's just a waiting game. It's free to download in the App Store. And it just kind of sits in the background. You when you first launch it, you give it permission to view your camera and listen to the microphone, obviously, so that you can place those calls. And then you give it notification permissions, and then it just sits in the background. And it's honestly, because there are so many volunteers, I've gotten calls few and far between since joining the app. This says July 10th, 2023. That's because this is my test iPad, so it's got a test account on it. But I've been on Be My Eyes, let's see, since 2021, I think. Let me see here. Since June of 2021. And over that time, I've gotten 4 calls. So for those of you out there who would like to volunteer, it's not as if you're going to be taking calls back to back regularly. They will come up every now and then you can help out. It's a really cool app, I think.
It is. And we've had some feedback from listeners at various points as well, saying that they've had some really great experiences with the app as well, or the service, because there are some websites that just aren't screen reader friendly. So people trying to find information on the website, if they're looking for ingredients for a recipe or something, those ones in particular are always really difficult to find because there's this huge wall of text about how their grandmother's dog used to live in this really cool stable and there was a fox that was outside and so on. And then 6 hours of scrolling later, you finally get to the ingredients. And especially if that website's not screen reader friendly, then good luck to you when you're trying to find that information. And somebody else whose wife has an extreme MSG or maltodextrin sensitivity has used it for help in finding the information in the ingredients in places as well, because ingredients are often in teeny tiny font, really difficult to read. So yeah, some users have had really good experiences with it as well. So it's great to hear how it works from both the side of the person giving the time to help folks out and also the people receiving that benefit.
Absolutely. Now, you included an app in the list called Charity Miles. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I do. So if you like to walk or run, or maybe you don't like to walk or run, but you need an incentive to do so, then you could try using Charity Miles to donate your miles run. So Charity Miles, essentially what it does, when you open the app, you can start earning, and you have to sign up. I have not signed up on this test iPhone, but I have tried it out on some other apps. But essentially what happens is after you're signed up, it will sync your workout data and then donate your miles run and turn those into cash for various charities of your choice. So it's quite nice in the sense that you can actually, it's something that some of you may be doing anyway, walking or running, or maybe some of you need motivation. But essentially you can choose a goal, a monetary goal to work towards, and then choose a charity that you're working towards, and then get going. You have to run as much as you can. You can see, there's some sort of sliders that you can play with, so you can change your miles goal and cents per mile and number of pledges which you want to get from folks. But it's a nice way of, turning this sort of thing into, some money for charity. And it being a charity of your choice, that means that, of course, you can do the research to find which charity would be best for you to donate to.
I love that you sort of improve your own health and well-being, both physically and mentally at the same time. Because again, as I was talking about earlier, the idea is that helping other people helps you mentally, because it can boost your levels of happiness. And so you're not only working physically on your health, you're also working mentally on your health while you're also helping other people. That's such a wonderful way to bring that all together. I think that's fantastic. Another app that I wanted to talk about, also available for free in the App Store. Many of these apps are going to be free in the App Store. Some of them will have in-app purchases because it's part of the mechanism, is a great app called ShareTheMeal. And ShareTheMeal is an app that is a simple way to provide meals to folks in need. When you get this app, you will see some featured goals that are set up. So these are going to be for situations that might be going on in the world at the moment. And then you will also see some different options that are taking place elsewhere. So Haiti, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Colombia, Afghanistan, India, Nepal. There are all of these programs all over. Right within the app, you can learn about how the donations are broken down, where the money goes, how it's used. And so that way you have an idea of the impact that your money will actually have in each situation. What I love about this is that it's got built-in support for Apple Pay. So if I wanted to, I could give emergency aid in Ukraine. I tap on Donate Now, and immediately you're presented with the option to donate. I can change. So for $24, I can make sure that 30 people get meals. For $6, I can feed a little bit over $6. I can feed 8. I can give 8 meals. You can make your donations monthly, and then these meals are provided by the United Nations World Food Program. So a well-known organization for providing food to those in need. When I tap continue, I'm presented with the Apple Pay dialog. I can choose confirm and then tap the in this case, Touch ID on top of this. Now, this is, again, my test device with a test account on it, so it doesn't have any money on the Apple Pay card, but it is so simple. And what I love too, on my personal device, let's see, it shows you what you've donated in the past, so you can kind of keep track of how you have impacted others and how much you've donated thus far. And I'm trying to find that now. I think it's in maybe your profile or something like that. So yes, it's donated $60 for people in Yemen and then also in Ukraine. And then it'll show you kind of what the breakdown is for how many meals you've done. And if they are tax deductible, that information will be provided there as well. So if you're looking for a quick way to make an impact and to know that your money is going to be used directly for good things, this is a great way to make that happen. And it's called Share the Meal. It's very, very, very simple. All right, let us talk about RoundUp app. Tell us about RoundUp app.
Well, RoundUp is an app that I did some research on, and it seems like it's a pretty good app. And I can say that because I can download it, but unfortunately, I am unable to use it as is this the case with some of the other apps that are available for this sort of thing because they are US only. Now, RoundUp itself is not a US only app, but unfortunately, all the charities in there are. But essentially, what you can do is you can pick a category, for example, animals, and then you can go and pick, a particular charity. So I'm looking here at PAW, People for Animal Wellness. Excellent acronym work, folks, or initialization, actually. And then you can start supporting them. And so what you do is you create an account with RoundUp, and then you link your cards, your credit and debit cards to this, and you authorize RoundUp with your bank or the company providing your cards. And then every time you make a transaction on there, it will round it up. And then it will take all of that money at the end of the month and donate it to the charity of your choice. So you can, if rounding up sounds a little bit scary or unknown, you can actually give a fixed amount or make one-time gifts instead. But it all happens through, a simple, relatively easy to use app. So it's a really nice idea because I think a lot of the time, especially with sales tax in the US, I've always found this. My bills come out to a really weird amount. It's like 82 cents. And it's like, well, that could be rounded up to $1. And then I could donate 18 cents to a charity. 18 cents on its own may not do a huge amount. But if that happens across a number of different transactions a month, you could be easily giving $5 to $10 a month away that you wouldn't necessarily notice. So if you've got a little bit of disposable income, then RoundUp is certainly a nice way to consider looking at that.
All right. Let us go ahead and take a quick break before we come back with loads more to talk about for apps and gadgets for doing good. I want to tell you about a new sponsor here on iOS Today. It's NetSuite, who is bringing you this episode. If your business earns millions or tens of millions of dollars in revenue, stop what you're doing and take a listen, because NetSuite by Oracle has just rolled out the best offer we have ever seen. See, NetSuite gives you the visibility and control you need to make better decisions faster. Ben Argove, CEO of International Wine Accessories, says, quote, "We've improved efficiency, enabled remote sales and customer service, provide a higher level of service to our customers, and manage based on real-time data by having all of our operations centralized, hosted, and accessible in the cloud." And for the first time in NetSuite's 25 years as the #1 cloud financial system, you can defer payments of a full NetSuite implementation for 6 months. That's no payment and no interest for 6 months, and you can take advantage of this special financing offer today. NetSuite is #1 because they give your business everything you need in real time, all in one place to reduce manual processes, boost efficiency, build forecasts, and increase productivity across every department. Having the power of all your information in one place so you can make better decisions is an incomparable value. Don't let this phenomenal offer from NetSuite pass you by. It's just so nice to be able to have everything that you need in one place. As we talk about context switching and how when you switch context, when you have to look in all these different places to find the information, the data, it is going to mess up your processing. It's going to mess up the sort of A plus B equals C thought process that helps you to make those decisions. Because NetSuite can put it all there, right where you need it, and you're making those decisions in the best way possible. More than 36,000 companies have already upgraded to NetSuite, gaining visibility and control over their financials, their inventory, their HR, their e-commerce, and even more. If you've been sizing NetSuite up to make the switch, then you know this deal is unprecedented with no interest and no payments. Take advantage of this special financing offer at netsuite.com/twit. That's netsuite.com/twit to get the visibility and control you need to weather any storm. netsuite.com/twit. And we thank NetSuite for sponsoring this week's episode of iOS Today. All right, we are back from the break, folks, and we are talking about apps and gadgets for doing good. And I am really excited to talk about this next app. It's an app called Kiva. And I had not heard of this before I started researching apps for doing good. And with Kiva, you as an individual can essentially become a person who is providing a loan to someone in need. And let me make that clear. It's a loan. It's not a donation. It's a loan. And so what happens is this community of folks work together to provide business loans and opportunity loans to those who need it. And then that money is paid back to you over time. Now, let me find this. So since 2005, 2,175,669 lenders have crowdfunded $1,918,378,150 in loans to 4,715,398 borrowers at an amazing 96.3 repayment rate. So 96.3% of the loans get repaid. And what they do is they show you different folks who are in need. So there are loans, for example, that maybe have not gotten a whole lot of attention. So they will, Kiva's staff will help to spotlight those so that you can donate, or rather, so you can lend money to them. You find refugees, you find some instances where things are almost funded, so you can get them to their funding goal. And then what's great about this, so here's Jairo in Colombia, who needs a loan to acquire a new scythe to improve productivity for his farm. So he's looking for $40 more, $575 total that Jairo is hoping to raise. And then with that money, he'll be able to purchase a new scythe, which will greatly improve his efficiency and productivity in maintaining his crops. And then again, over time, it will lead to repayments. So it's a monthly repayment schedule over the course of 20 months. And what happens is you are then providing, you're getting the money back over time. So let me give you an example. I could donate, the $25 is the smallest amount, and I keep saying donate, I need to not. I could lend $25 to Jairo in Colombia, or let's say $50. And then as things are going on, Jairo is going to continue to update you as those payments are paid back. And what I love about this is you can choose to take the money that you get back. So let's say I put $50 into the system and Jairo pays back my full $50, right? I can tell the app, this service, to just take that $50 and donate it to another, I keep saying donate, lend it to another person who's looking for a loan. And so that way you can kind of keep working through the system. There's also a subscription service. So you can do $5 a month that does it automatically. And then you can kind of choose what specific kind of loan you might want to give or a contribution amount. Now, I looked into Kiva and did some research to kind of understand how this works in the background and make sure it wasn't this sort of predatory system. And everything points to this being an above the board service. I think this is a super cool platform. And I think that it's a pretty neat system where you can end up helping impact so many different businesses, not just in the United States, but around the world. I think that's super cool. And I also think that it opens up people to maybe want to partake in this, where you might be able to sort of have that $50 come back to you over time, but another person needs it at the moment, and this is their way of being able to get it. So sort of spreading the wealth, sharing around the wealth, I think is a super cool idea. So that's Kiva, also available for free. And you download it, you can sign up and then help to provide loans to folks who need them. All right. Let's talk about the last kind of, one of the last third-party apps here, which is WoofTrax.
Yeah, so this is something I found when I was doing some research. And unfortunately, again, it's not available for me here in the UK. And I've been looking for a UK alternative and I've yet to find one. But WoofTrax is essentially walk your dog, or if you don't have a dog, walk a virtual dog to raise money for dogs. So especially if you've adopted a dog and, the shelter or rescue where you adopted your dog from does fundraising efforts, then you may want to consider looking them up and seeing if you can walk your dog and donate money back to the shelter. So WoofTrax themselves have got various supporters and sponsors and so on, and they take that money, and for every quarter of a mile you walk, you get some charity points, and then all of your charity points get added up, and you can choose to donate them to particular organizations and so on to help your furry friend, which I thought was a lovely idea. I don't know, I haven't found a number of these that are available internationally yet, and I'm hoping to find some. So if you as a listener know of any of these that work outside of the US, that would be really great, or any better ones. This one does have a few reviews in the App Store saying it crashes, but it's available on Android and iOS. And I think, it's a nice idea. Taking your dogs for a walk outside, you can share your maps of your walks that you've been on as well, so that will help other dog walkers find nice places to go and walk their dogs that are safe. It means that everybody gets to, have more fun with a furry friend. And if you don't have a dog, or you're allergic to dogs, but you would like a virtual dog, then you can adopt Lexi in the app, who will be your virtual companion to go on your walks with you.
That's cute. That's cute. And then you've also included another great option in the list. This is something that I am excited to have as part of the list now. It is the blood donor app for the American Red Cross. So the blood donor app for the American Red Cross helps you find blood donation facilities around you, so that you can obviously donate blood to help save lives. With it, you get kind of a bunch of stuff. You can track your blood donations over time. There's a swag area, so you can pick up cool swag. You have your own profile for your own blood, and all of that information is there. It also makes it super simple to donate blood quickly. So, part of blood donation involves a lot of ahead of time writing and answering a bunch of stuff. And so this can help kind of speed along that process a little bit, taking out some of that information. And then you also have the NHS version of the app. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the NHS version of the app, it's pretty simple. It just allows you to find places where you can go to donate blood or plasma here in the UK. Then you can sign up and make an appointment, download it, put it straight into your calendar, which is very useful if you use CarPlay for getting directions to places, or just Siri prompts you with things from your car, with things from your day as you go. Then it lets you choose a time and date and go and donate some blood or plasma as is needed. And of course, it's a free app that you can get. But yeah, it's worth considering if you are somebody who donates blood here in the UK.
And then we've got several sort of Apple-focused options here, Apple-focused things worth checking out. Well, I guess the first one, Product Red, is not just Apple. There are lots of Product Red products out there, but we thought we'd talk about, since Apple does support Product Red with Product Red devices, what can folks do, and to what organization do the contributions end up?
So the contributions end up with the Global Fund, which uses Apple's contribution to finance HIV and AIDS programs. And essentially what you can do is there are some iPhones, iPhone SE, iPhone 13, and iPhone 14 that you can buy in special product red editions. And there are also cases for those devices and some other devices as well that you can buy, as well as Apple Watch Series 8 is available in red, and some bands as well. There's a sport loop, a sport band, braided solo loop. There's also matching watch faces for those, which don't actually make a donation of any kind, but you can coordinate, which is lovely. There's also some Beats Solo 3 on-ear headphones, which will also contribute towards that. So essentially, if you like red anyway, then you can buy red versions of some of the Apple products and donate some money to charity at the same time. And these products don't cost any extra compared to the normal one. So if you're looking for a silicone case and you like the look of the red one, then it's not going to cost you any extra, but there'll be some money donated to charity as part of that.
Beautiful. You also, if you'd like, can every year Apple in the month of June, which is Pride Month, releases an Apple Watch band for Pride Month. And when you buy Apple's Pride Edition band, this year it's a sport band that has these sort of, they almost look like candy sprinkles. When you buy this, whatever band it happens to be, Apple makes a donation to LGBTQ plus advocacy organizations. So yeah, each year it will lead to support for different organizations, including the Equality Federation Institute, Encircle, Equality North Carolina, Equality Texas, Gender Spectrum, GLSEN, the Human Rights Campaign, PFLAG, and more. So there are several organizations that are supported whenever you purchase the Pride Edition band. Apple also does a band for Black History Month called the Black Unity band, and purchasing that band during the month of February will also lead to support for organizations that are aimed at helping people of color. Now, outside of that, there are a few sort of features that you wanted to talk about. First and foremost is LiveListen. Rosemary, what is LiveListen?
Well, if you've ever had a situation where you're trying to hear somebody speaking, but you're a little bit far away from them, maybe there's some surrounding noise, maybe your hearing's just not that great, or they're speaking really quietly and softly, and you wish it would be easier to hear them, then LiveListen is the feature for you. It's not just for folks with a hearing difficulty that they need help with. Essentially, what you can do is you can turn on the LiveListen feature on your phone, and it's on an iPhone or an iPad, and you can put your phone where that person is speaking or where the audio is coming from. And then you can sit where you're supposed to sit with your AirPods in, and you can hear things because it uses the microphone on your iPhone as a direct live listening device. That's it. It's the name. But this is a really useful feature, and it's well worth remembering it exists, because I told my parents about this, and then they were on a tour a little while ago. My dad was struggling to hear the tour guide a bit. And so he asked him if he would mind, holding onto his iPhone essentially while he did the tour, and the tour guide was more than happy to accommodate. So he held on to my dad's iPhone, and my dad used LiveListen with his AirPods and was able to hear what was going on way better than anybody else could. I think there was some traffic and stuff around as well, making it difficult. But it's a really useful feature. I've used this for doing things like setting up. I was trying to make my buzzer, my intercom here smart, but I needed to be outside and press buttons, but hear what was going on inside. I'm one person. I do have long legs, but I am not capable of being that far apart. It's like 100 feet in two places at the same time, and certainly not faster than the speed of sound. So I used LiveListen to leave my iPad inside with an AirPod in, and went outside. Maybe it wasn't 100 feet. It was just about the maximum range either way. I was able to hear what was going on when I pressed the intercom buttons outside. So that was really useful and very, very much worth knowing about. And it's one of a number of accessibility features built into iOS that I feel like everybody should know about, because you may not need it, but it's great to be able to recommend something as a solution to somebody else if they're struggling with something and they ask you for help. Don't forget, some folks really don't want you to be suggesting solutions to things that they're struggling with if they're just venting. But if they are saying, hey, like, do you know of a way that I can do this? Being able to say, there's a feature built into iOS that can do this. Do you want me to show you? Is really cool and can certainly make some people's days.
Nice. Yes. And then you have a great tip in here that I had not considered. There's a great page, support.apple.com/accessibility.
Yeah. So there is an accessibility page on the Apple website, which will give you like all of the it gives you an overview of the accessibility features. It doesn't have every accessibility feature that Apple has listed here. There's a lot. But if you or somebody you know needs a Braille guide for the iPhone, Mac, Apple Watch, Apple TV, or HomePod, then you can order an electronic Braille guide, or you can order an embossed copy. There's also Apple accessibility videos on YouTube. There's things in the Apple support communities based around accessibility and so on. There's just so much here. In particular, I recommend Apple's YouTube videos for accessibility. I know videos may not be the most accessible thing to everyone, but getting a list of the different ideas, the different videos could certainly give you some ideas of the features to search for to get the support page on Apple. So how to have your iPhone or iPad read text to you, how to use background sounds on your Mac, or use detection mode in magnifier on iPhone or iPad with LiDAR so that you can find doors and things like that, or live captions in FaceTime on iPhone and iPad, which is currently a beta feature. That's an iOS 16 beta feature, to be clear, not iOS 17. This is, all of this stuff is just really useful to know about. Or even if you don't remember all of these things, remembering, oh yeah, there's something about emojis with voiceover. I'll Google that, and then you'll find, how to turn on emoji suffix with voiceover on iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch from Apple support. That's it. It's a really handy little webpage to know, and Apple support documents are pretty comprehensive anyway. So it's worth looking into those if you are looking for any way to improve your use of your iPhone, be that accessibility focused or not.
That is fantastic. That is a page that is definitely going to be bookmarked for me, and I will hold on to for a long time, because yes, anyone can make use of these features. They're all very helpful, and they all are worth paying attention to. All right, let us take another quick break before we come back with Shortcuts Corner on this episode, Apps and Gadgets for Doing Good. I want to tell you about our next sponsor, which is HelloFresh. Yum, 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 yum. Take a bite out of summer with HelloFresh. From chef-crafted seasonal recipes to their new fresh and fit summer menu, HelloFresh brings flavor right to your door. You can get pre-portioned ingredients to help cut down on food waste, while step-by-step instructions make cooking a breeze and not a chore. Make your home the hangout place this summer with crowd-pleasing eats, from a backyard bratwurst bar to tangy, key lime pie. HelloFresh Market makes summer entertaining a cinch. HelloFresh makes sure you get peak time summer produce all season long. Their ingredients travel from the farm to your door in less than 7 days for quality you can taste. HelloFresh offers more than just delicious dinners, too. It's now easier than ever to add snacks, sides, and more to your weekly order. HelloFresh Market offers a curated selection of more than 100 items. HelloFresh's menu features Calorie Smart and Protein Smart lunch and dinner options, plus new vegan dinners to choose from. HelloFresh makes it easy to eat healthy with delicious recipes. It will take care of the meal planning and deliver the ingredients, so everything you need to whip up a delicious meal arrives right to your door. And HelloFresh gets that, they understand that you want options when it comes to what to make for dinner, not just the same old thing all the time, which is something that I am very guilty of. And that's why they offer 40 recipes to choose from every single week, so you'll never get bored and can always find something new to try and love. HelloFresh's fast and fresh recipes are ready in just 15 minutes or less. Plus, HelloFresh is 25% cheaper than takeout. I have to tell you, those fast and fresh meals, I kind of prioritized those. And I thought, okay, this is going to be something I can eat and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Easily one of the best meals that I've had from any type of sort of follow the ingredient or follow the recipe, make the thing meals. It was so good. It was this beautiful garlic potato with this sauce and this chicken. It was juicy and tender. I mean, it was incredible. So much so that I remember my partner saying, I would order this at a restaurant, and then the next time I went to that restaurant, I would order it again. And then the next time I would order it again. Yeah. And those are the fast and fresh meals, the ones that are supposed to just be these quick snap meals that don't take that long. Even though it didn't take me very long to make, it was still so good. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. And that doesn't surprise me at all, given my experience. Go to HelloFresh.com/iOS50 and use code iOS50 for 50% off. Plus free shipping. Yeah, we've upped it. 50% off. That's HelloFresh.com/iOS50 and use code iOS50 to get 50% off plus free shipping. That's ridiculous. 50% off. That's half off. And you get some meals. Why not? Hop on it. Do it. Check it out. All right. I'm going to quit talking at that upper register because it's going to hurt my voice. HelloFresh.com/iOS50. Use code iOS50. Let us head back to the show and play that funky music for Shortcuts Corner. It's not really funky. This is Shortcuts Corner, the part of the show where you write in with your Shortcuts Corner requests, and Rosemary, Orchard Hour Shortcuts expert, provides a response. The first bit of Shortcuts Corner feedback comes in from David. David writes, "Hey there, Mikah and Rosemary. I have a sleep focus mode, which triggers nightly and changes the home screen to be minimal. I also have a personal automation set to when bedtime starts to set volume/background volume, start background sounds, and sets color filters, making the screen grayscale to be less distracting and bright. Is there a way to stop the sleep focus mode and automation from triggering if I am not at home? I am a musician and occasionally have a late night event that goes well past my bedtime. So when I pull out my phone at these events, I have to switch the screen and color filter back." And then David has provided a photo of Bingley as part of the pet tax. So we'll take a quick look at, sweet Bingley with a bandana wearing Bingley. Hello to you. So we've got location tied to focus, but instead of it being when I go to this location, turn this on, it's if I'm not at this location, then don't turn it on.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? This is great because we actually have a chunk of this solution already, David, because you're running a personal automation when your focus mode turns on. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to show folks again quickly how to create that focus mode trigger in Shortcuts. So in Shortcuts, under the Automations tab, you're going to want to tap on the plus, and then you'll choose your focus mode. And so in this case, it is your sleep focus mode. So that's actually the one right at the top under time of day and alarm, which is only on iPhone. But either way, so when this turns on, so either when wind down begins or bedtime begins, you have a personal automation that is already running. And I'm guessing you've set this to run immediately. And so what we need to do here, now bear in mind I'm on iOS 17, so I have a little extra step in here. I'll just jump into the new blank automation. So this looks like it does for folks on iOS 16. Then what we're going to do to start with is actually we're going to say, hey, if I'm at home, turn off my focus mode. And then we're not going to do anything else. We're going to use a stop shortcut. And then if you are at home, then you can just let it run. So there's a couple of different ways we can do this. Now, assuming that you have all of the things set up, the easiest thing to do may be to use get current location, and then get an address from that and check if, say, for example, your zip code or postcode here in the UK is the same one. The other thing you can do, and this is the method I like to use to check if I'm at home, is to get my network details and get my Wi-Fi network's name. And if my Wi-Fi network's name is, and I'm going to say the Promised Land because that is the name of my Wi-Fi network here. And so if this is the Promised Land, then we are going to focus mode. And there is a little action inside of shortcuts for our focus mode. Not Zoom focus modes. Wonderful. It's hiding from me. Where did it go? There's so many actions in shortcuts now. It's fabulous. I love it. But it's caused the one that I need to go into hiding. So I think I'll just have to look under scripting. And not get current focus, set focus. That's the one. So we want to put our set focus and we're going to pop that into the network details. And in this case, we actually want to turn sleep off. And then we're going to use our stop shortcut action, which should also be here under the scripting actions. And I'm just going to scroll. Where did it go? There it is. So we're just going to say stop this shortcut and that's it. So when sleep turns on or when bedtime starts in this particular case, it's going to check your Wi-Fi network. If your Wi-Fi network is your home network, then it's going to go, okay, that's fine. But then we should say is not. So if it's not the Promised Land, so that's my home network, turn sleep off and stop this shortcut. And then your sleep mode won't turn on. And then when you get home, you can turn on your sleep focus mode and go to bed. And that's it. And you'll have all the things that you usually have and everything will work. The only trick is if you also stay in hotels and so on, then you may need to do something else to check, like maybe just ask yourself before running the automations for turning on your grayscale and things like that. But I think that this is probably the nicest solution to your problem. So before you run any of your other automation, just check if you're at home. And if you're not, turn off sleep, stop the shortcut, and that's it.
Beautiful. The next one comes from David. And David has written in, hi, Rosemary and Mikah. We use the focus modes do not disturb and sleep in the evening and at night. So the phone and watch only run when the kids contact us. When we go to bed, it is annoying when they keep writing messages to each other in Signal in the family group or sending unimportant messages to us that we would read in the morning, but we want them to be able to call us in an emergency. I've looked at the settings, but I don't see a way to let phone calls from emergency or favorite contacts through, but block unimportant things like messages from chiming every couple of minutes. If I set emergency contact and let them through, I can also let them call, but I can't see a way to let just those favorites call, but not message me. Or am I looking at that wrong? Thanks in advance. And this is the part where Rosemary reads the German.
Mit freundlichen Grüßen, which is with friendly greetings.
And also / best regards, David. And this is a different David, but this is interesting. So I want them to be able to call me, but I don't want them to message me through this do not disturb / sleep. I don't want their messages to break through from Signal, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is something that's really understandable. So what I'm hoping for David is that David has his kids in his favorites or in a group in contacts, because if he does, then there's a nice simple solution to this. So if we open up our settings app and then we go into the focus section and then we pick a focus. So I'm not going to pick sleep. I am going to go into the podcasting one because I currently have Mikah and David Sparks, my co-host of Automators, listed here as allow notifications from. So these two folks get blanket notifications. But if we look underneath the people, you'll see phone calls, allow calls from favorites. Now you can choose favorites. You can say from allowed people only, which would be the people listed above, or you could choose another group. I'm just going to stick with the favorites. But this means, for example, my mom is in my favorites. If my mom calls me, then she'll get through, even though she's not a listed person here in my focus mode. But if she sends me a message, like it'll pop up, it'll badge the messages app and so on. That's what I have set up for my focus mode, but it's not going to ding my phone. It's not going to make sounds on my phone. So I think that this is probably the solution that you are looking for, David. And hopefully that will that will work. So yeah, the other option is to, in the apps section, instead of allow notifications from, silence notifications from Signal. And then Signal will just be blanket blocked. But I'm not sure you would actually want to do that. So I would suggest going the route of don't list your kids in the people section. Just add them to your favorites or contact group and then allow calls from that contact group. And that should do the trick.
All right. That's fantastic. The next Shortcuts Corner request comes in from Barry. Barry writes, "Hi, Mikah and Rosemary. Love the show. All the tips and tricks are great. I have an automation question/problem. We recently purchased an Eve outdoor cam. It's connected to my home network via the Home app and Eve app. We live on a 2-acre property and use the camera to notify us that a visitor is arriving, as we only use the garage door as the entry and exit of our home. My problem is that I can't get a different audio notification of movement when the camera is triggered. It's just the average ding that any number of apps give. Additionally, for some reason, only my iPhone gets the notifications. My wife's iPhone does not get these notifications. Both of us are registered users and can see the camera feed. Only one user gets the notification. My question is there an automation that can send notifications to my wife and to me that's distinct and immediate? Any help or suggestions would be appreciated. Also, I would like to introduce you to Scooby, the picture attached. He is a rescue dog, 18-month-old Lhasa Apso Shih Tzu Tibetan Terrier crossed with an Australian cattle dog. Thanks, Barry. I cannot wait to see what this dog looks like. Oh, a sweet little baby. Scooby is so cute. A small dog, sort of white and gold in color with brown ears, reminiscent of there was I can't even think of it. There was a dog food brand that had an adorable white dog on the front of it. And it kind of reminds me of that dog. Although this one has beautiful golden brown and white and blonde colors. Very pretty dog. Thank you for sharing Scooby with us. So this is complicated because now we've got someone wanting to almost have something else notify them. But anytime you enter in a third-party notification based on a first-party notification, there's a delay that's going to be built into that, right? Is there some way to solve this, Rosemary?
Yeah, there is. And I'm pretty certain I know exactly what Barry's done because I would do exactly the same thing. So in the Home app, you tap on a camera, which gives you a preview. I've scrolled back to a bit earlier today where nobody's license plate is visible. And then you tap on the settings and you go to status and notifications and you say, hey, send me a notification when, for example, a clip is recorded or motion is detected or specific motion is detected. And you turn things on or off as is required, right? And then well, actually, this is the trick. I'm guessing, Barry, you set this up on your phone and you didn't set this up on your wife's phone because notifications are person specific in the Home app. And so if you open the Home app on your wife's phone, then you should get notifications and you go through and you set this up. You should get notifications when you're on your wife's phone as well. And so if you don't have activity notifications toggled on to start with, you'll need to toggle that on. You may want some limitations on time or when you are at home or when you're not at home or no person limitations, but then you can choose to just get notifications, for example, when people are detected. Now, I'm actually going to turn this back off on that camera because, as you can tell, it points at a car park. And there's quite a few people coming and going in cars and pets and things like that. But those notifications are person specific. So you're going to want to turn them on for each person in the Home app, not individually. The other part of your question can you change the dings? No. I'm sorry. There's no changing of the dings here. You cannot change the notification sound. The only thing that you can do is go into the settings app, notifications, and then Home. Make sure that you've got things like critical alerts and time-sensitive notifications turned on and things like that, and so on. But there's no way to change the ding sound. The only other thing that you could possibly consider doing is adding an automation. But if you do an automation for whenever there is motion from your camera, some cameras will be triggered by, for example, lights turning on and off. So, for example, if I have an indoor camera in my hallway, looking for motion is detected, it counts the number of pixels that are changed when the light turns on, and then the light turns off, and oh my God, all of the pixels have changed. And then the light turns back on because there's an automation running there. You don't get that granularity of the different kinds of options, but you could, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, convert it to a shortcut and use something like get contents of URL with pushcut, or similar to notify yourself and notify your wife. But I really think the best solution, just open the Home app, open the settings, or open the Home app on each person's phone or iPad and set it up. And then that's it. You're done.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you had that kind of figured out. That you knew what was going on there. Let's see. Let us head into feedback and no. Actually, let's take a quick break, and then we'll head into feedback and questions and our app caps to round out the show. I want to tell you about ZipRecruiter. You're familiar with ZipRecruiter, our third sponsor today on iOS Today. If you're hiring, you're currently dealing with economic uncertainty, which adds to your challenges. And now more than ever, it's important to hire the right people faster and more efficiently to keep overall costs down. Thankfully, there's a hiring partner who is focused on you and your needs. It's ZipRecruiter. From pricing to technology, everything that ZipRecruiter does is for you and what works best for you. And right now, you can try them for free. Yes, free at ZipRecruiter.com/iOS. Here is how ZipRecruiter prioritizes your needs. You get straightforward pricing. You know what you pay before posting your job, so you can stick to your budget with no surprises. You can reach more qualified people because ZipRecruiter sends your job post to more than 100 job sites. You can find great candidates faster with their smart technology. And this is the best thing, I think. Invite the best matches to apply for your job. Get them excited about joining your company. Beat out the competition for talent. ZipRecruiter lets you invite candidates you really want to apply to your job before other businesses can snag them. Hire the best with the help of a partner who's all about you. It's ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Just go to this exclusive web address to try ZipRecruiter for free. ZipRecruiter.com/iOS. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/iOS. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And of course, we thank ZipRecruiter for sponsoring this week's episode of iOS Today. All righty, let us move on to the feedback and questions. Steve has written in and says, hello, Mikah and Rosemary. I have been holding off on doing the HomeKit app upgrade that includes Matter, or is it Thread, or both, after hearing about the early issues folks have had. Is the current HomeKit app stable at this point? I have 5 HomePods, the original, and a HomePod Mini, 2 Apple TVs at the version before the 4K, and a 4K Apple TV, along with Eve temperature monitors, indoor and outdoor, a Logitech doorbell, Meros outlet plugs, along with a dozen or so Leviton switches. We also have Eve motion sensors, a Honeywell smart thermostat, and Ecobee smart thermostat. If the current devices are all HomeKit configured, will they continue to work after the HomeKit app is upgraded? And Steve has attached the pet tax, which is Mojo, their golden doodle. So, oh, wow. What a beautiful photo, too. My goodness, that's a pretty, pretty, pretty dog. Hello, Mojo. So I love that photo. Cute. Wow. That's that's cinematic in quality.
It is.
So
maybe portrait
mode?
This is
Right, it must be. This is a great photo from Steve, or a great question from Steve. It was a great photo because what Steve is talking about is an upgraded system within the Home app where Apple is kind of tightened the bolts on things, maybe replaced a few leaky valves, and overall maybe even added in some new motors to speed things up. Basically, everything has been improved in terms of the HomeKit framework. But with that comes the concern, and a fair concern for sure, that you might have some issues with different devices connecting. And here's what I want to say about this. And I'm curious to hear Rosemary's take because Rosemary has a far more complex setup than I do. I will be honest in saying that I did have some issues when I first upgraded to the new version of HomeKit, the framework. It's when you launch the Home app, you will either be prompted directly or whenever you go into the settings of the Home app, you will see an option that says, would you like to update the architecture? And when I updated the architecture, I ended up having to reset and repair many of the devices that I have in my home. I say that with the caveat that I did it almost instantly, as opposed to waiting for, maybe some bug fixes and improvements to come through, for firmware updates to make it to my third-party devices, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I hopped on it, and hopping on it might have been something that led to me having those issues. But it was pretty easy to repair my devices and do all of that stuff. I didn't have too much of an issue in doing it. And once I did, everything was fine until I installed betas, and then that caused its own set of issues. But I was prepared for those. So I don't feel comfortable just straight up saying, yeah, do it now. Everything's going to be fine, because you may run into some issues. And so you may end up having to repair things. Unfortunately, that sometimes is just part of what happens whenever you are, moving to new technologies. Some of the stuff needs to be kind of cleaned out, so to speak. But Rosemary, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I have one question for you, Mikah. Did you upgrade the first time Apple released the HomeKit update, or did you update the second time they released the HomeKit upgrade? Because the first time they released it, they pulled it really, really quickly because a number of people did run into issues. And
yes.
The second time they released it, most people didn't have any problems at all, which
That's
is
good.
What I did.
Good. So you did it the second time.
Patient.
I did. Yeah, I did it the first time. I did it as soon as it was available, and I did have issues. That's just good to hear. Go ahead with the second time.
Yeah. So when Apple releases for the second time, I held off for a few days because they'd already released it once and then pulled it. And I was like, I'm going to just hold off, make sure everything's all good here, because, this is home stuff. If my lights start coming on at 3:00 in the morning while I'm trying to sleep again because my automation's broke, I'm going to be a really, really cranky podcaster. So I held out a bit and then I upgraded and everything's fine. I didn't have any problems. But there is always the possibility with HomeKit, or indeed any smart device, that you're going to need to turn it off and turn it back on again in some kind of way, which could include resetting it and repairing it with HomeKit. I'm going to tell folks that this is an inevitability, that you should plan for this to happen at some point. Because you should be planning that this may need to happen at some point, I would recommend that you back up the pass, like the Home Pass or the HomeKit codes for every device. And there is a great app that you can download on the App Store to help you do this called Home Pass, which will just let you back up all of those codes, it's got like a rectangular border and then like 3 digits, 4 digits in it, or something like that. Sometimes it's a barcode, sometimes they're NFC ones. HomePass can handle all of those and back them up and sync them across your devices. So when you need to unpair a device and pair it again, you do not necessarily have to crawl under that really awkwardly placed cabinet to find the code so that you can then pair the device again. I would recommend sorting this stuff out. You can also do things like store like the IP address of a light bulb or things like that if you have things assigned specific addresses on your network and stuff. But you don't have to. That's just an option. But you can export everything as a PDF as well, or just scan things from your phone using your iPad or vice versa. It's just a very, very useful tool. So I definitely recommend that. But personally, I didn't have any issues doing the upgrade because I waited and didn't do it when it first came out. And it's been working great for me. So good luck. Hopefully we won't be getting a message back from you to say everything broke. No.
Yes, follow Rosemary's advice and wait for the second time around. In this case, it's out. So you're able to do that. Now, Mark has written in and says, hi, Rose and Mikah. Is it possible to greatly reduce the steps to connect AirPods devices to Apple TV? So basically, I want to connect nearby active AirPods that are in my ears. Of course, this auto connects, but only for specific conditions. I wish proximity was the reason that this worked. And this is from Mark. Yes. And Rosemary, you've included the answer to this, which is a very helpful feature that I've used a number of times. It's as simple as pressing and holding the play button to get those AirPods to connect to your Apple TV.
Yeah. So if you press and hold the play button, then you get a menu pop up on your Apple TV, which is, it's a black background or a white background, depending on if your TV's in light mode or dark mode. And then it'll show you AirPods and AirPlay speakers and so on that are in. So AirPlay speakers, I believe, need to be in the same HomeKit room as the TV to work. AirPods just need to be nearby as far as Bluetooth is concerned. And then they will show up there in the list. So that is my preferred way to do this. There is a slightly longer way to do this, which is worth knowing about just because it's getting a nice big upgrade in September, which is if you press and hold the button that looks like a TV, then you get the control center pop in. And then there's a little AirPlay icon in the bottom there in the control center where you can also access the same thing. That's quite useful. The control center is quite useful for doing things like switching users or, connecting other Bluetooth devices. But things should generally just work. So if you've got AirPods in your ears and you press and hold the play button on your Apple TV, should be it. Should be listed right there and you should be good to go. If your AirPods aren't paired, then you may need to manually pair them with the Apple TV once, and then it should all work. If that is the case, I'm going to recommend double check that you've installed updates on your iPhone, Apple TV, and so on. My parents are notorious for seemingly unplugging their Apple TV. I'm wondering why HomeKit doesn't work, and then also why didn't it install updates? Like just leave it plugged in and then everything will be fine. But yeah, make sure you've installed all the updates in all the places. But if you press and hold the play button and your AirPods are in your ears, you should be good to play to it. Or them, as the case may be.
Yes. All right. And with that, it is time to move along to our app caps. This is the part of the show where we place apps or other things atop our heads to honor our app and gadget picks of the week. These are the apps and gadgets we are using now or have used at some time that we want to share with all of you because we think they are awesome. So, without further ado, Rosemary Orchard, tell us about the cap atop your head and then tell us about your app or gadget pick of the week.
Well, the cap atop my head, it's not so much of a cap. It's more of a plastic cowboy hat. Yes, it is made of plastic, folks. I got a huge number of these in a party selection because it turns out iOS Today hosts need a lot of hats. Either way, it's a lovely zebra print with a blue background and black stripes. Some stripes are suspiciously straight. Some stripes are not so straight. And the bottom of underside of this is shiny and I'm starting to melt. So I'm going to get on and talk about my app cap and the app instead. So my app is PlayTally. Now, if you've ever wanted Apple Music statistics, just like you have on Spotify and so on, and get just a bit more data out of things, then you may want to look into PlayTally. So PlayTally connects to your Apple Music library, and it will sort of award you badges for various kinds of listening that you do. So number of songs played and so on. Now, I've been using this on and off, so it doesn't necessarily have all of the data, but in my awards, I've got some play count awards of hours played, songs played, etc. It tells me that the most time I ever listened to music was the 15th of May, 2022. Pretty certain that's not true, but I do hand off to HomePods a lot, so that definitely counters into it. How many things are in my library and percentage of things loved also contributes where you get, little awards for them and so on. And you can also see what stuff is trending. So you can see over the past month, past week, lifetime, or a custom period of time where you could choose, for example, from the 10th of May to the 10th of July, and then have a look at that and it will tell you what things have trended. You can see history and you can browse. So if you want to see, the history of something, which I know I listened to the song in the car yesterday, but I had to reinstall some things on my phone. So I'm guessing that's why it didn't work. Then, yes, you can actually get a whole bunch of data with PlayTally. So if you want to tally how often you listen to some music, or maybe figure out what you can clear off your iPhone if you're looking to preemptively, before the new iPhones are released, decide how much storage space you would like and need, and maybe you can offload some images, then you should check out PlayTally. It is $1.99, and then there are some in-app purchases to further support development, but it is a lovely little app that just tallies your plays, and that's it.
The app that I want to talk about, the cap at the top of my head is this wonderfully warm cap. It's got this sort of Sherpa interior, and then on each side, it's got these little ear flaps that I think might also, so you can fold them up or fold them down to make yourself even warmer. All of it can be put up so that it just sits on top of your head, or you can bring the ear flaps down and even buckle it if you need to. It's quite a warm cap. So I don't know, I might have to keep this and hold on to it if I end up going anywhere cold. I live in California, so it's rare. Anyway, the app that I want to talk about today is called Series, Customizable Layouts. And this app is kind of mind-bogglingly awesome. I found out about it on Threads, the new Instagram / Meta made app that is a social media service, because on Threads, they were showing how you could use the Series Customizable Layouts app to create a kind of full screen swiping experience. And so I posted on Threads, which I can't really show you, unfortunately, because it's just it's an app, not a website. So I can't really show you the link, but lets you create a kind of swipeable full screen view. So let me show you how this works. First and foremost, you want to add a photo. So I will pop into here and I will find a photo. And I've got some photos of Henry when he was but a young lad. And I've also got some photos of San Francisco from the Coit Tower. And let me take one of these. Let's see. Let me take one of these photos. I guess we'll do this photo of Henry when he was a puppy, where he is a little bit longer, and I'll add that. And what I want to do is first and foremost choose the size for the photo. So you have your what are these called? Your aspect ratios, 1:1, 4:5, 5:4, 9:16. But then you also have special ones like thread, Instagram, and then something as far as 3:1 or 2:1. And so let's say I want to do 2:1. From there, you choose, do I want to do a single frame? Do I want to do a pair of frames? Do I want to do a spread? Do I want to do a row? Do I want to stack photos, or do I want to do a grid of photos? I want to do a spread, and I want to choose, instead of 2:1, let's do 3:2. And no, let's do 3:2. And then what I can do is change the number of panels per frame. So now we've got 3 panels per frame, or 2 panels per frame. I can choose to have the content fill the cell, which is what I want to do. Remove the margin, and I can then add edges if I want, and I don't want to in this case. If I had a margin, then I could also change the background. And then what happens here is, now if I export this by tapping the share sheet in the top right corner, it's going to export these 2 photos right next to each other, which I could then post to something like Instagram, for example. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to choose Instagram instead. And if I were to then share this on Instagram, this is the exact swiping experience it would be. So essentially, it's doing that bit of cropping for you, that part that's kind of difficult to do, to make sure that you get a perfect crop if you had an image carousel. I could head back into this, though, and think about if you wanted to do a grid of photos that were 1 by 1. How many cells you have per frame. So we want to just have 1. And then the grid flow is left to right. I'm going to sneeze. And then whether the content fills the cells, yes, we want that to happen. We want 0 spacing like it is on Instagram. And so this would allow me to then change that. If I was specifically trying to create, the Instagram view that has the multiple photos, I could do that from here as well. So this is a great app for doing social media posts. But what I really liked it for, which again, it is a social media post, was how easy it was to create a photo for posts that when you looked at the photos in full screen mode, it kind of swiped from left to right and there was no breaking between each photo. This just does this so cleverly. And what I love too is just the animations. It's a very smooth animation as it's rescaling and recropping these photos and shows you exactly how it's going to look depending on what you were trying to create. And I think that in particular is something that makes this app very cool. I was not prepared for it to be as delightfully animated as it is. There's just a lot of attention to detail when it comes to that. So do consider checking this out. You can get it for free. And some of the extra features like the specific thread and Instagram image types and a few of the other more complicated things like creating actions that are specific to kind of quickly create a type of cell will cost you $15 a year, or I think it's $3 a month. All great prices as far as I'm concerned, and just a really well-designed app. So kudos to the developer of this app. And I like I said, I found it on Threads, created a series of photos using Threads, and thought this was great. So you can get that on the App Store. And with that, we have reached the end of this episode of iOS Today. iOS Today, you can reach out to us if you'd like by emailing us at iOStoday@twit.tv. That is how you can share feedback, send in Shortcuts Corner requests, and so much more. You can reach out to us other ways, but iOStoday@twit.tv, that's easily one of our favorite ways for you to get in touch. We record this show live almost every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, or 1600 UTC. This episode is being recorded ahead of time, so not live, but we do appreciate you for joining us live at twit.tv/live, where you can see links to watch the show on Twitch or on YouTube Live or in other places. The best way to get the show, though, is by subscribing or following, depending on the service you use. You can do that by going to twit.tv/iOS. There you will see buttons for subscribing to audio or subscribing to video. You click on one of those buttons and you will see you can choose your provider: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or straight up plain old RSS. We love our RSS feeds. So that's at twit.tv/iOS. And hey, I have a request for you. Tell a friend about iOS Today. Have them subscribe to the show. We would very much appreciate that. Let people know. The next time something from the show delights you, the next time something from the show helps you, the next time something from the show answers a question you've had, please share the show with a friend and let them know they too can get help from us here on iOS Today. Another way that you can help out is by joining the club at twit.tv/clubtwit. Look, the current state of the sort of ad marketplace in Twitland is we would like it to be more stable. And because it's not more stable, we are always mindful of finding new ways to make sure we can continue bringing the great content that we have to you all. So if you want us to keep making these awesome shows, if you want us to continue to be here to help you out, please help us out by joining the club at twit.tv/clubtwit. It starts at $7 a month or $84 a year. And when you join the club, you get some great things. Every single Twitch show ad-free. It's just the content, none of the ads, which is awesome. You also gain access to the Twit Plus bonus feed. That is extra content you won't find anywhere else, behind the scenes, before the show, after the show. All sorts of great stuff. Plus special Club Twit events get published there too. and access to the Club Twit Discord server, a fun place to go to chat with your fellow Club Twit members and all of us here at Twit. Also joining the club means you gain access to some great Club Twit exclusive shows. There's the Untitled Linux Show, which is a show all about Linux. You gain access to Paul Thurrott's Hands on Windows program, which is a short format show that covers Windows tips and tricks. You gain access to my Hands on Mac program, that's Apple tips and tricks, also a short format show. And you gain access to Home Theater Geeks, which is newly relaunched in the club with Scott Wilkinson. So if you are a home theater geek, that show is for you. And a new show will be launching sometime soon with Jason Howell, all about artificial intelligence. So all of that is available in the club. You want to join the club and check out all that great stuff. Twit.tv/clubtwit. Rosemary Orchard, if folks want to follow you online and check out all the great work you're doing, where should they go to do so?
Well, the best place to go is over to rosemaryorchard.com, which has links to the places that you can find me online. Most of them, there's about a bazillion new social networks, so I may need to update that list. But you can also find other podcasts, books, and apps and so on that I am involved with there as well. What about you, Mikah?
I can be found at Mikah Sargent on many a social media network, or you can head to chihuahua.coffee, CHIHUAHUA.coffee, where I've got links to many of the places I'm most active online. I'm realizing I need to add my Threads account there now. So please consider heading there and checking out the different podcasts that I do and different social media accounts. Folks, thank you for downloading these apps or checking out these gadgets for doing good. Thank you for tuning into this episode of iOS Today. And we will see you next week, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, for another episode of iOS Today. Bye-bye.
I'm Jason Howell. What do you get your favorite geek who already has everything? Well, I know just the thing. It's a Club Twit gift subscription, of course. Twit podcasts keep them informed and entertained with the most relevant tech news and podcasts available. And with a Club Twit subscription, they get even more. They get access to all of our podcasts ad-free, the members-only Discord, exclusive outtakes, behind the scenes and special content, and exclusive shows like Hands on Mac, Hands on Windows, and the Untitled Linux Show. You can purchase your geek's gift at twit.tv/clubtwit, and they're going to thank you every day for it.